Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And finally, we have received the final unit of the Fount of Wisdom meta, because this is certainly not Water 3.0. Wind unit, so it makes sense now that Gopta is a Pierce buffer and Wind buffer. So, I mean, it was kind of easy to see that, but also, God knows what could have happened. He could have just, nobody uses the Earth Spear still, so let's just put that up there. Nobody uses the Earth Spear, so would I have been terribly surprised if Gopta buffed Wind, but no Wind unit came out? Probably not. But we did, and it's Hinata. And of course, as with the last Hinata we got, she is Big Mommy damage. And we are going to do that today in her showcase. We're going to have her do Big Mommy damage. And then we're going to take her off her Big Mommy damage team and try and bring her down to the slightly mortal level and see how she does. Not with Diablo, not against a water unit, not in her perfect scenario where she's doing oodles and boodles of damage. And we'll see how useful she actually is, because, her skills, single target, 490, got the EX alt, cool. Her attack buff only hits Fount of Wisdom and Shizu's Will allies, which, yes, does include herself. Fount of Wisdom is only the new team, and Shizu's Will is a whole bunch of 3 stars and 4 stars that are not useful for damage, or units that already give themselves an attack buff. So it's like you don't need this as a team support because the team already has support, right? So essentially, it's just an 80 cost personal buff at the end of the day. And then she also has her 40% ult damage, which is great. She's good. She buffs herself alongside all of the other units that came out in this meta, and that is a lot of buffs. And then she's a special blue orb changer, which is good for the team, because it means that you can run this team very efficiently if you put training on the team. Because you've got 2 special converters, you've got a green orb changer, you've got an orange orb changer. 3 of them are buffers. 1 of them is rushing Hinata's ult gauge. So it's like it's not a bad team. It's actually a very, very strong team, and we're going to show that team alongside the new Gopta as well. So yeah. Valor trait doesn't really matter. We're not doing Valor trait. No, we're not doing Valor cut today. Protection trait. Every 2 turns you get 3 points of protection, which is good. Very, very good, especially now that I have training up to 92 because of my stupid Hinata summons last night. Still not over that. And then she gets extra Pierce power when Rimuru's here, which obviously we're going to run with Rimuru. And she gets self-buffed based on the physical characters in the team. So that's enough of that. Let's move on to the first fight, which is oodles and boodles of damage. Alright, we're going to go into Inferno 1 and try and do Big Mommy damage with this specific team. So technically having Gopta and Trainee is a slightly redundant, because Gopta is buffing Wind by 30%, Trainee is buffing Wind by 15%, but Trainee also has that added alt gauge increase, which will go to your highest attack unit, which currently Hinata is by 100-something points, at 11.3k attack. So we're going to try and double rush her alt, we're going to try and get all 3 of the big buffs on, and then also Gopta, who's going to give us 30% wind power and 15% pierce power, and I believe Diablo has a wind attack charm, which is another 10% right there. So 40% wind attack. We're gonna try and do this, and I guess I don't think it's gonna take very much, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. If you guys watched my summon stream last night at the end when we started testing her, all I could do was stare and giggle, because the damage that she can do on this team is ridiculous. Because you got to keep in mind, we are on the Fount of Wisdom team, and we are against a water unit. So that means actually two major things. Is 1, we're getting that extra 60% damage increase because we're Fount of Wisdom against a water unit. But also, Hinata is Wind, and she has natural type advantage against Rimuru, which means we get an extra, roughly 30% damage increase on our normal orbs, or anything, versus going type neutral. So, if you want to hard, soft math it out, we're doing 90% damage just for existing. And then you add all the different buffs and debuffs on, and then it gets a little crazy. We're going to do this, and we're going to pull Albus out because Rimuru has Water Shion attached to him, and then Trainee is also going to give her full protection gauge buff alongside Hinata giving us our protection gauge buff. So this right here will give us guaranteed 2 full meters of protection gauge this next turn. Yeah, we're going to get more than that actually, but we can't exceed the 2, so we're going to look good. So 5,000, 8.7k, and then her 200% orb does 18.2. When we were testing Albus and we were testing Rimuru when they came out, they were doing like 13k, 12k, and you know, we considered that good because they were still getting that extra 60% buff. But now that we've got a Wind Hinata as our primary DPS, she's doing that extra damage for being type advantage on the stage. And now, if you have her, it turns Infernos, which were previously very difficult for a lot of people, into almost a joke. Right? Like, this team is going to run fine because we can do this with Rimuru, and then we can bring Albus in, or we could use, you know, well, actually it didn't really work out the way I wanted it to, but it's fine because we have Trainee here to do this, and we don't actually have to do anything. We have 2 stacks. We're gonna get more stacks of Diablo here. And, you know, this is what happens when you have 4 orb changers, and all of them are actually contributing in multiple ways. This team is a very good team. This is a very, very huge leap in power creep. Not just because of, you know, I have an EX ult and I can get 100 or 1.5 times my normal damage, which makes her currently the single best DPS unit of the entire game. 20k right there, even with his defense. It's just this team is funny. It's very, very funny. So, turn 3, use Diablo, get another stack on. We can, let's see, we can do the Force of the ult, which will give us Hinata's ult right here. Alright, and then we have enough points to use the green orb change, which is Albus. Where's my mouse? There it is. So we'll bring Albus in. For Trainee, I guess, because I don't want her skill sealed this turn. And then we'll use the orb changes, and we'll call it good. And we're gonna have points. And honestly, I could probably, like this next turn, I could probably nuke because I've got 190 points, and we would probably kill with Hinata. Like, I kid you not, we could probably kill turn 4 with just 2 of the big buffs. And you know what? Well, not anymore, because we got sealed, but you get what I'm going for, right? Let's use the buff, and then... oh, I need to turn that off. Anyways, like, this is Inferno 1. Like, I had trouble beating Inferno 1 when it was just the Rimuru and Diablo team. There was no way in hell I did this much damage in 4 turns, normally, right? And if you don't have this team, sadly, there's no way in hell you're doing this much damage in 4 turns. And that's just, you know, the cruel reality of this game is that if you don't have meta, you're kind of a bitch. And it's just, there's just no other way to put it. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's force the ult again. Oh, it gave it to Rimuru because we're attack lowered. Well, that was unfortunate. Okay, well, we can still do this. And then we can do that. We're going to ult with Rimuru. He has technically a wind buff that doesn't apply to him. 25,000 damage, cool. I'm just clearing up space for his ult. From his ult, so I can get more Hinata orbs. And then... I think if we use Trainee this turn, we're actually going to get Hinata's EX ult right here. So that'll be good. But, I mean, this isn't even... I didn't turn it off. I didn't turn it off, did I? I didn't turn it off. Sorry, I just got home from work and I'm kind of losing my mind a little bit. So you'll have to forgive me for being slightly crazy right now. We have enough. Okay. So let's do that. We got to get Albus unsealed, so let's bring her in for Rimuru so he doesn't die, I guess. And then we'll use that. I don't actually know if this is enough points to actually use all the buffs. It's not. Well. That is unfortunate, but we do have an EX alt now. We have 186 points, and to use all of the buffs, we would need 300 and... How much? No. 190, 200 and... Let's see, 816... 240 points plus another 55, so 295 points. 295? So we need to get up to 295. So we need one more stack. So we're going to have to hide Hinata now. And the sad part on this team is that you cannot use any of these buffs except for Gobta's buff, right? Because that would stay with her, so maybe I could have used that now. But that's the thing, is that this team... This buff, this buff, this buff, they all have debuffs that last for one turn, which if you don't use it that turn, they just go away. So if you're trying to use and save attack skills, it doesn't really work. So that is one detriment to the team, but I think it'll be fine. So, actually, I can't really do anything here, can I? I have no blues. Let's just burn these oranges out. That won't get us a lot of points, but... Okay, that'll work. Because we have Albus and we have Trainee who can do the orb change here. So, pop, pop. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's use Gobta's blue buff. Why not? Why not? We'll get a butt ton of points here. And a butt ton of protection gauge. So we're capped out. We still need one more turn to get above this, right? We still need one more turn to get to the 290 mark. Hopefully no one dies. And we're going to get ulted here, so that's not good. Maybe I should have used Gobta's buff last turn. Oh well, let's see if we live. If Trainee dies, it's not the end of the world because she's not going to contribute to our damage after this point. But I do care if like Albus or Rimuru dies. So let's use you. Let's use this so we get the most amount of points here. You're not going to do any damage, which is fine. Oh, you did 14,000. I'm actually kind of surprised. But he lost all his defense, which is why. Alright. Ooh, Trainee. Oh, okay, we're alive. Alright. Let's do this. Get you out of here. Alright. Let's use this one, this one, this one. We're going to do so much damage here. We're gonna do so much damage here, it's not even funny. That's a lie. It's going to be incredibly hilarious. Alright, so let's check what Hinata has right now. She has a 735% ult multiplier, plus another 40%, which I understand why they didn't give her more than 40, because like normally we're used to seeing like 480 with 70%. It's just kind of topsy-turvy now. And then on Hinata herself, we have a wind attack charm 15% or 10%, wind attack 30%, pierce power 15%, attack 60, pierce rate 100, physical attack 65%. We've got the 60% increase to water character damage right there, and then Rimuru has the ult down by 120, pierce resistance, attack resistance. And we're going to do some hilarious damage right here. I'm going to send one normal orb just to gauge how much damage we do, and pray that it doesn't actually fucking kill him. And then we'll do the ult, of which this should be the first time seeing it today. Alright, so normal does 81k. Right? That was one single orb. 81k. But the ult, with all of the buffs, 295 points. 1.79 million damage. 1.8 million damage. It's just... It's so unnecessary, right? He only had like 100k left after that normal orb. See, I said it wouldn't be funny, but it's actually hilarious. It is actually hilarious. That's a lot of points we used. 7 turns, 8 turns, whatever we're at, is a decent amount of time. But also, if it's a stacking team, they're going to give you 8 turns to do something, right? Generally. I mean, this team, he loses his buffs at turn 6, turn 8, somewhere around there. I think it's turn 8 when he loses his defense. So it's like, it's built for a long fight. We were losing our minds when, the Light 3.0 team came out and Raphael could do like 800,000 damage between, all the Pierce buffs and Light and stuff like that. But now you have this shit. You have this shit. Even without the EX alt, we still would have gotten over like 1.2 something million. Without the EX. And then if you want to include Albus's alt and Rimuru's alt, because they would have given us Pierce power and lowered her Pierce resistance, I mean, one, they wouldn't have... Rimuru would not have lived 3 alts. Or, well, 2 alts. Even if one of them is AoE. He just doesn't have the HP for it. I would understand if they made this Rimuru like 1.2 million HP, but I think that's pushing it a little bit. But, like, there's no way, unless I took all the gear off and none of them had buffs, which is impossible because they are the buffers. It's just imagining the potential of more damage because we didn't have those, that buff and debuff. And also, Hinata's only 104. She could be 120. She could get her EX, Awakening, and get another 20% ult damage. Like, she would have broken 2 million. Easily, if we had that. 2 million damage. And it'll go down when you hit EX, Inferno 3, but it'll go down like a little bit. I'm just sitting here ranting about Hinata's ult. Let's move on to the next team. Not this team though. I think this says it all. So we'll do a not this team section. All right, we're going to use the Wind 2.0 team, but there is an inherent problem with attempting to use Hinata on this team with this specific setup at the very least. Is that we don't have enough points to use her at full power because Hinata costs 80. Hero costs 55. That's 135 points right there, which Gabiru cannot physically give us. We also have to use Trainee's Wind buff, and then we also have to use Dino's debuffs. So there's a lot of points floating on this team that we have to use, that we really won't have the capacity to do so, because 1, we don't have an increase in skill cap, and 2, because we're not buffing the blues by 100, 200, 300%, blues don't really give us a lot of skill points. So we're going to try it out and see how it goes, but I assume that we're not going to be able to see the full power of Hinata here, but we'll try and get as close as we can. Alright, so turn 1 we get a relatively decent hand. I think we'll take Dino out for Hinata because we have another Dino orb coming in. We're going to send these greens and pray that we get a nice block of blues. That maybe we only have to orb change once, and then we can do a giveaway. Perfect. Absolutely perfect, because now we have just enough points to do someone's orb change, and then the blue giveaway to Hinata, who has the highest attack on this team, of which it only changed 2 orbs, but hey, it changed 2 into a full hand of blues. So, and that still does not get us an ult for her. It does give us maximum Gabiru, though. But you see, like, an entire hand of blues that are also getting gauge increased by 10% only gets us 53 points. Like, so that's the problem that I was talking about, is that, yeah, we can get a whole bunch of blues. They just don't give us a lot. So we don't have an ult, so we can't, like, use Wind Trainee's buff now and send her away. If I were to use the hero buff, now, I would get the crit, but I would lose the crit resistance debuff, because I'd have to use it again. So that's also a thing. I think we can use you and then you, and we'll have another hand of blues, right? Yep, perfect. Alright. Let's go ahead and use 1 stack of Gabiru just to, get it out of there, because we're going to get another one. Maybe we'd use both of it, because we're going to get another one. Who knows? Yeah, let's do that. We'll just give ourselves 30 points right here. We're buffing the magic attack of Hinata, but she is not a magic unit, so that buff actually doesn't mean anything for us right here. So let's go ahead and use we'll use Trainee's wind buff next turn, and then that'll give us the 15% wind attack buff. And then also, we're not going to go for an EX ult, and also she's taking a lot of damage because they really hate her. They really don't like her. Okay, so let's do the wind buff now. That lasts for 2 turns, so we could, do things now as well. And then we'll take her out for... let's do... How many... We have 61. If we were to use this, it'd be 15, so that still wouldn't be 80. So, oh well. Let's bring in Dino. And then... let's see... We could use... We can't really do anything. I want these oranges out of here. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so we can use Gabiru this turn, unless Trainee dies. Hold on. Okay, so I want to get rid of this single target ult. Or maybe I want to get rid of the AoE. I want to get rid of somebody. But we have to use it now. So... what do we do? What do we do here? We could... We can't rewind to do that, can we? Oh, we could once we use Gabiru. That'd be all the points, though. That would be all the points. No, let's just go ahead and nuke. Let's get him out of here. Trainee only has one orb, though. So we're going to get Dino out, and we're going to get Trainee out of here so she doesn't die. And then we're going to use Gabiru, give us a magic buff again, which doesn't really matter, but it also gives us the 80 points we need to use her buff. So no one on here is Fount of Wisdom or Shizu's Will, except for Hinata. So this is not helping anybody except Hinata, which is kind of unfortunate, but, you know, we do have a full hand of blues, so it does work out. So I'm fairly confident between the wind buff and that we're going to murderize this poor Diablo. And then we'll see how much damage we do against Geld over there. So Hinata, 78k is not as much as I thought we were going to do. Actually, I'm quite surprised. Huh. 78k. Okay, so we're going from the incredible high of being on the Fount of Wisdom and having the extra damage against water to our realistic scenario where we do have type advantage, but... oh, she's going to die here. Okay, well, I mean, it's a good showing of the limitations. Oh, she didn't die, wow. The limitations, right? Had we been buffing the entire team's attack, we may, I say that with quotes, may have killed Diablo. I don't know if that was a guarantee, but we would have done more damage with all of our normals rather than just Hinata's normals. So that's a thing. But we had a wind buff, we had an attack buff, and we had an alt buff. So we had 3 buffs on that turn, and we only did 78k against a type advantage unit, who granted does have additional defense of 50%. And a physical attack resistance of 20, which I just now realized. So that also cut our damage a bit. So that's my bad for not realizing that. However, I think it still does stand where this is a magic-focused team. It's a team that's focused on small buffs, meant to be used with a protector that doesn't give a whole lot of points. She doesn't really fit that well on Win 2.0. So if you have Hinata, but you don't have the new Fount of Wisdom team, you don't have, say, like Light Shuna for the protector for at least some kind of stacking, she's going to run pretty inefficiently. But after this, we're going to, I think we don't even need to stay on this one, we're going to try a much different looking team, and we'll see how she works there. So I think we got some natural damage out of that. I think we'll be fine. Let's move on. Alright, so for the last team that I'm going to use in this generic showcase, because we're already quite long, we're going to use this team, which has no new meta units. No, they're all, you know, general banner units, and then Isis is free to play. But you have Hinata. So this is like in a world where you only pulled Hinata, you didn't have any luck, or you chose not to summon on the other metas, you don't have the Force of Fount of Wisdom units. So, you know, this is going to be like the unlucky thing. But Cabby's going to, you know, buff greens, which technically we have Isis to do that, so we could bring someone else, but we're going to run with this. So we've got Isis, Veldora, and Valentine for orb changers, and we've got Millum who's going to give us crit and seal the crit, and then Hinata's going to be our damage, and we'll pretend this is the best team that you could run, and just see how well it goes. We're going to go into EX Cabby Conquest, which, by itself is not a challenging thing, but, it's a third stage where I can use her, where she won't murder it immediately, right? Because he's got guard and defense. Alright, so turn 1, we're going to swap Veldora out for you. We're going to send these 3 Hinata orbs and pray we get some more greens next turn. 5,000 damage starting off is decent. We did get more greens technically. Unfortunately, Valentine's orb change costs 30, but we did bring Veldora. So let's go ahead and take you out of here so we can do... Actually, we don't really have Cabby online yet, so it doesn't really matter. So honestly, we only have 1 Hinata orb, so let's get her out of here too. And let's wait a little bit. Let's go ahead and send these blues. That way we get Cabby, and then this turn, hopefully, perfect. We can use an orb change, and we can bring her in for Veldora because he has the most orbs. So let's use his orb change first, and then use Cabby. This will buff greens by 150%, which we're technically being nerfed as well, but the power of Cabby means that he doesn't really give a crap. So Veldora to come in. We'll take Fire Milim out because she's type disadvantage. And then we'll go ahead and send this, and that'll get us her ult. It gives us 140 points. If we want to use this team, we still need 1 more stack, right? No, it's fine. We could do it now, technically. Because we're only doing her 80-point buff, and then the 55-point buff from Milim. So, how much... You have defense right now. You've got 60% defense. Technically, you have 69,000 nice HP left. But I think it'll be fine. And this is me, don't quote me. But I think we can kill right here with just this basic level of power. So let's do the crit and then the attack / ult buff. We're still not buffing any characters on this team because they're not Shizu's Will or Fount of Wisdom. But we'll go ahead and send this and see how much we do. Maybe we kill, maybe we don't. We do kill 74.8. Okay, and he had 69,000 left. So, 4 turns, very basic team, just orb changing. You have 2 major buffs, really. You still did 74k, which is killed EX Cabby. You can put her on other teams and just try and surround her with either orb changers or damage support. But for teams that cannot have the ability to use big point skills, she's going to struggle, right? This whole meta is built on stacking. They're all 80-point buffs on the Fount of Wisdom team. This shit's not cheap, okay? This shit's not cheap. But she works the best, on her own team against a water unit. Anywhere else, she'll work fine, but maybe not to her fullest potential. And I think that is where we will end this video for now. We will be doing quite a few videos on Hinata because she deserves it. We're going to do a whole world tour of Tempered Edge, I think, and we're going to do a few other things with her. But this is a very basic showing. We have an incredible high amount of damage. We have some incredible low amount of damage, and something in between. So it kind of gives people an idea of, if they have the team, they can do dumb things. If they don't have the team, temper your expectations. But, let me know what you guys actually think on her after having a day to use her, after seeing this very basic video. But let me know in the comments. That's it for me. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.